Watching the official reaction video called the Phantom Menace Lego Stars comparison video. So this is my first reaction video today. So be sure enjoy this video. So watch it from Flanju. Okay. So enjoy the video. Oh, I can't hear the
Which
sound.
one? Because there were 6 games released across 19 different consoles, and in this video series, we're going to compare each of them. Now, most of these games are comprised of several Star Wars movies, sometimes the entire saga. So I decided the best
Wow,
way to
this is
compare
not
them
so
would be
bad
to
at
break them
all.
up by movie and dedicate a video to each episode. And so in this video, we're comparing every version of the Phantom Menace in LEGO Star Wars games. Okay, let's start with the first depiction of Episode 1 in the original LEGO Star Wars and the complete saga. The game begins with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon being ambushed by the Trade Federation. Whoa, what happened to Obi-Wan's arm there? One of the standout things about the original LEGO Star Wars is the amount of Easter eggs scattered throughout the game, starting with this furniture that dances when you use the Force. You know, while slowly dying of Dioxis poisoning. Hey, maybe they're just hallucinating while the gas slowly paralyzes their nervous system. So the two Jedi make their way through the level, solving puzzles and chopping up battle droids. They then take on some droidicas, which kind of look like deck chairs in this one, and then it's down to the planet's surface where the Jedi take out some of their rage on poor Jar Jar. And look, he can't even fight back in this game. All he can do is jump really high. So even if you're not bullying him, he's going to die a lot. I'm playing this without music to avoid copyright claims, and it gets really eerie just hearing Jar Jar's endless death screams. Oh yes, a beautiful statue to remember our time on Naboo. Master, I think you built it wrong. Shut up, boy. You still have much to learn. Speaking of voices, there are none in these early games, which means the characters have to pantomime their way through the plot. There's no Autogunga level. Instead, we go straight to Theed, where the Queen and Captain Panaka try to get away from the droid army, using backwards megaphones as blasters. Hold on. Where exactly did Panaka just pull that blaster from? Oh, and back it goes. Poor Captain Panaka, they gave him the most generic Lego face. Look at him, he's so happy that his planet's under hostile occupation. Guess they must have used up all the designs on the Queen. And you'd think the woman with the biggest wardrobe in the galaxy would wear something that draws a little less attention to herself as she sneaks around the city, instead of, dressing like Michael Jackson from Thriller. Okay, so they get to Tatooine, meet 9-year-old Anakin. He's the same size as a 6'5" Qui-Gon Jinn, and it's straight to the pod race. Growing up, this was one of those levels you were stuck on forever, especially if you were playing it with your younger sibling. Doesn't matter how good you get, the game will always pull you back to the otother player. Oh no, Sebulba won. Well, I guess he's going to get adopted and taken to the Jedi Council. Eventually, Anakin wins the pod race. We skip Coruscant altogether and go straight to Naboo. It makes sense. It would be really tough to convey concepts such as the return of an ancient religious order, and the Queen calling for a vote of no confidence in the Senate using Lego figures that can't talk. The next level has our heroes trying to get back into the palace. Poor Captain Panaka, 2 days away from retirement, taken out by a garden deck chair. Of all the Phantom Menace levels, this is probably the most tedious, mainly because you had to get all the characters past these various different obstacles, and each one would get stuck at a different part of the level. For example, Anakin is the only one who can get into these crawl spaces, despite being, the same size as everyone else. And then it's time for the Darth Maul fight. Notice how he never removes his hood. That's because they didn't actually have a horn piece built for him yet. Obi-Wan, little help? You know what? I'll just do this myself. Hey, come back. God, I feel like his debt collector. Wait, so you can just pull these switches and open the shields? Why didn't Qui-Gon do this in the movie instead of taking a nap? But despite taking on Maul together, the outcome is still the same and Qui-Gon dies. They don't show the funeral scene, so it kind of looks like everyone's celebrating Qui-Gon's death. There's also this bonus mission which didn't make it into the original game. This one's pretty simple. You fly around collecting these purple orbs and then use them to blow up a bunch of stuff in and around the control ship. And that's it for the original. However, there was also a Phantom Menace section in the Game Boy Advance version of the original game. The levels are now isometric and the puzzles have been simplified. Swapping characters is still a big part of the gameplay, but now you do it in the menu. And the hardware limitation meant they couldn't really have more than one character on the screen, so the old character character just blows up to make way for the new one. Also, when you die, you're taken back to the beginning of the stage instead of just respawning. There's no pacifist Jar Jar in this one, instead he throws bombs. Also, each character will have a skill that's unique to them. For example, Qui-Gon will have invisibility, Obi-Wan will have force push, and Jar Jar will just run around screaming with his arms flailing. The isometric perspective does make jumping a bit of a pain in the ass. Some of the levels are different as well. You don't get a pod race, instead you get these 3 levels on Tatooine, where Qui-Gon cuts down a bunch of Tuskens. So that's where Anakin learns it from. Get away from my car, you savages, I've still got down payments to make on it. All in all, I think they did a pretty good job adapting the console experience to the Game Boy Advance. There was also a version of LEGO Phantom Menace for the Nintendo DS released as part of the Complete Saga port. Now this version is much closer to the console game. The controls are almost identical, except you use the touchscreen for force powers. The levels are also very similar, with some streamlining. Even the graphics aren't that bad. It kind of looks like the main game if it had come out on Nintendo 64. I mean, yes, the cutscenes now look like paper cutouts, and there are only 5 levels in Episode 1 instead of 6. They left out the Jar Jar level. But you still get the pod race, which is now top-down. Alright, moving on, we have the Skywalker Saga released 17 years after the original.
Wow.
This was part remake and part reimagining, and
no wait, the Skywalker Saga has really cool features about than the other like Star Wars things. The Skywalker Saga is really released. Look at the difference. Wow. There's so many difference about these. That's a lot of Legos. Oh, look at Obi-Wan. That's my favorite one. But my favorite one is the Episode 3 edition. There must be a lot of sagas around the Skywalker Saga because it must be celebrating or something. This is actually my first reaction video about this one. Oh my god. Obi-Wan died. Ain't that one? Wow. Cutting a circle, or it must be, it looks like make a hole. That's how you cut in a hole or a circle like the one. They're not dead chairs. They are deflect blaster droids. You can even ride that one. Okay, so that's all for today, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe. Click the bell for more videos all about my reaction video, my first reaction video. So bye. That's all for the Skywalker Saga. Include the others today. So I can't wait to do this one. Oh my god, the ship. This monster is so creepy. So bye.